What's the good word, Josh? Your boy DKB here. So it's been a wild morning. I'm still kind of shocked by it all, but I'm absolutely floored. It looks like, and I haven't been able to still dive into all of the reports, but Woody Johnson officially fires Robert Saleh, and we have defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich named as the interim head coach, which just speaks to the state of the New York Jets, right? That where the offense is clearly the problem, the reason why we're not having as much consistency and success as we should have. You can definitely argue there should be at least two more wins on the table for the Jets at this point as we look to compete for first place in the AFC East. They didn't look to Nathaniel Hackett, who had his own rumors, and this is also part of the surprise that many people thought that he was going to be fired as opposed to Robert Saleh here, right? And that doesn't appear to be the case anymore. But they didn't look to touch into bring in Sean Jefferson, who has his coach experience, and they didn't look to Todd Downing, who at least has play calling experience as well. And I don't know if there's going to be any changes as of right now, right? So it's just wild to me. I hate to say that Salah has been scapegoated at this point because there's enough tangible evidence to look at and show that he just wasn't getting the job done. Ultimately, wins speak volumes over everything else, no matter how you're coming across those wins. And I seen a crazy stat that, we haven't had a Jets head coach even crack the 500, so break even mark in terms of wins and losses since I believe it was Al Groh. So over 20 years or so. Inexcusable. Now, what I will say is, for whatever reason, I've still been a fan of Robert Saleh. I love his personality. I don't love some of the cliche things that we have, but I still felt moments of belief, like we did when we brought him into to when he got hired as a DC. Right, he might not have been everybody's first pick, but everything that you heard about him coming over from the 49ers and his tenure from the Jaguars, etc., was that he's able to provide the leadership, a steady approach. He's convicted in what he believes in. And I would say a lot of that rings true, but only to the standpoint of his expertise, which is defense, and maybe to a lesser degree special teams. But I would say that's definitely more so Brant Boyer's baby. Um, so it was definitely warranted. I'll just state that clearly, right? 20 and 35, 36 record, whatever it was that he finishes with. And defensively, I'll say this as well. I've seen that I think over his tenure with the Jets, he's finished top five in a lot of defensive EPA, so efficiency metrics based on the talent that he has and the team overachieving, etc. And I believe we finished no worse than third in most of those categories. In the same token, though, I'll say that a staple of Robert Saleh's tenure has been ineptitude offense, in a defense that's generally on the field. If I had to ballpark it, I'd say probably 38 plus minutes of the football game for the majority of Robert Saleh's tenure. So one of the pieces you also have to account for is that teams haven't just been putting up 40 passes, 30 passes consistently on Robert Saleh's defenses. It has been a run heavy approach because they're up, 20 points by halftime, and there's no need for them to, continue to take shots and risk a lead with the defense as talented as it is. So, not to take anything away from him, but definitely something that we would need to keep in mind right now. It's irritating because there was two schools of thought prior to a lot of details that I saw. One was that Woody Johnson has already clearly come out and said that he doesn't like firing coaches, whether it's a head coach, coordinator, etc., in season because he thinks it sends the wrong message to prospective coaches, right, that are coming in, that if things go off the wheels or don't go according to plan necessarily right away, that you could be on your way out. And to his, to the point, this Robert Saleh is the first coach in like the last 25, 30 years for, the New York Jets to be fired. So much so that I seen somebody point this out, and it's crazy to think about. Adam Gase even got to finish his tenure, and yet they decided to fire Robert Saleh after quite a couple losses, which you can definitely say are not due to Robert Saleh. The Vikings specifically, Aaron Rodgers wasn't up to wasn't up to par. He didn't get it done. 3 interceptions is crazy. A pick six that effectively probably could have allowed us to win the game if it never occurred, and then a horrific underthrow to Mike Williams, which just showed um, more of the wide receivers and Aaron Rodgers not being in sync. So there's plenty of things you can point at to, just like there's plenty of additional things I can add on to here for why Saleh was fired outside of the offense. You could take a look at some of his tactics when it comes to situational football, wasting timeouts, not calling timeouts soon enough. He probably averages for his team double-digit penalties on almost a per game basis, and it just never really quite seemed to get fixed. And then, of course, you do get some of the call outs from guys like Garrett Wilson and Brees Hall and, Tyler Conklin. And I kind of mentioned it yesterday, but it really does feel like, or this morning, really does feel like Quincy Williams' comments now might have been the nail in the coffin for Saleh as it relates to Woody Johnson deciding to go ahead and pull the trigger now and try something to save his season. The only reason I'm a little irritated about this move is that firing Saleh did absolutely nothing to fix the team. The most positive spin I can put on this is that Ulbrich coming in clearly has the respect of the entire locker room. Now, I've only heard defensive players really speak up on behalf of Ulbrich and what they've seen and the qualities of him as a head coach. And you can look to him being looked over in a couple of the last coaching cycles as teams not being fully confident in that as well. But at least I think he could provide some kind of spark, and you usually get that little bit of a bump from a coaching replacement anyways. We've seen Ron Middleton spark the team to a win, although we're playing as aggressive as we ever have, going for it on every fourth down and all manner of things. But it's wild to see, right? At this point, I say that it doesn't fix anything because Aaron Rodgers is the other piece of this. The moment that Robert Saleh got fired and I started seeing everything, going crazy on my phone, the first image that hit my head was the Patriots game. We go up 2 scores. Robert Saleh gets ready to give Aaron Rodgers a bro hug, and he, kind of pushes him off. And we get the story later from Rodgers that it was more so, I don't know, him being pumped up and telling Saleh, "You got your 2 scores. Now go win the game." But it has felt like there's been some kind of disconnect. Since even the Egypt trip and Saleh trying to hold teams accountable. No one man is greater than the team, right? And that's not the energy that Saleh has been greeted with since Aaron Rodgers come. We've bent over backwards for him, and now we have no choice but to be, lock and toe with what Aaron Rodgers wants to do on this team. So if you told me we're getting Ulbrich as interim DC and at least Todd Downing or Sean Jefferson was calling plays, I'd say fair play. We're making wholesale changes to try to get something done. But to just see Saleh get fired and, we're probably going to get the same kind of performances out of the defense. Who's to know if Ulbrich has enough of a voice in that locker room and in that coaching staff to be able to dictate what Aaron Rodgers can and can't do, or if Woody Johnson will really even allow that at this point. But yeah, man, it's insane to think that we're going through this once again. Now, the next dominoes will be will Nathaniel Hackett continue to remain on the hot seat the entire season? To think that he may survive at least until the end of the season and Saleh wasn't given the chance is crazy. You can make the argument Saleh's leash has been long enough, but yeah, I don't know, man. It rubs me the wrong way a little bit. It just kind of feels like the Jets are once again showing their inaptitude for being able to just display a functional franchise at this point, to really put it blatantly. So I don't think anybody's necessarily shedding tears and really sad about it. Although, Connor Hughes, I think, has provided the best update so far on the whole situation, where he mentions, It's odd, of course, that it's happening on a Tuesday, long flight, coming back Monday, etc. But they essentially gave him a day to come in and game plan and stuff. And then by Tuesday, Woody Johnson just decides to call it quits. But uh, everybody was surprised by it, right? Nobody expected this whatsoever. Again, Nathaniel Hackett was really the coach people expected to be out, but I could see that causing even more problems with Aaron Rodgers, because you would expect with Nathaniel Hackett being fired, that means you're going to be changing the scheme. And yeah, I don't know. Rodgers seems to want to live in this kind of archaic version of an offense where there's minimal motion. He wants to be able to scan the defense, pick his targets and how he wants to attack things, and we just haven't been functional enough for that to even be effective outside of one, maybe two games. So I'm curious how we respond to this at this point, right? If the coaching staff was shocked, I gotta imagine the players were shocked. If anybody's celebrating that locker room, maybe it's the offensive side, but I don't see what you're necessarily happy about when nothing else is really changing, right? So I don't know. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on the whole situation. I'm sure you guys have had a chance to catch up on more of these updates than I have so far. So maybe you can help shed some light and definitely give your opinions on some of this stuff. But let me know what you guys think, man. I'm hoping for the best here, but if we do somehow turn this around and things go great, I definitely still would have liked to have seen Salah benefit. But it is what it is. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about this whole situation, and I'll catch you guys again. Peace.